Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. So we're going to be talking this morning about 15-minute cities that are being built in the United Kingdom now. I got sent a video earlier on today. I can't share that video with you, but you guys can find it yourselves. The video is from Darlington, and it could be that they're already starting to build these 15-minute cities. So I'm just going to go with this, guys. I'm going to monologue, and then I'll jump over and get any questions and comments. So if you live in the United Kingdom, you know, and you're one of these people who say, you know, who's, if you live in the United Kingdom and you're like, you know, one of these people who are saying, oh, they're going to, you know, the government are going to bring in digital ID, the government are going to do this, they're going to do that. And then it keeps happening time and time again. When people talk about 15-minute cities, another word to describe a 15-minute city would be an open air prison. Because what that's going to be is, you know, it's going to be a city that you're not allowed to leave because it will have everything you need in there. There'll be travel restrictions with digital ID. I can't remember what the movie is. I think, no, it is. It's Hunger Games. You know, we really are moving into that type of society. But we're not doing it with any malice. We're doing, well, I guess the malice is behind the scenes. But people are moving into this, and people really think this is a good idea. So building of 3 new towns will start before the election, Labour pledges. So Labour's pledging now to build 3 new towns. I don't think they want to call them cities, but be under no illusion, guys, this is what it's going to be. Maybe it's a 15-minute town. That's what they call it. 15-minute towns are here, guys. 15-minute towns. So this is expected to be announced today. The construction of 3 new towns will begin before the next election. A task force has recommended 12 locations in England for development, with 3 areas: Tempsford in Bedfordshire, Leeds South Bank, and Cruise Hill in North London, identified as the most promising sites. So that could be, so that what we're looking at here is, guys, you know, we could see the implementation of 12 15-minute cities. Housing Secretary Steve Reed is expected to announce plans for in a speech on the opening day of Labour's annual conference, which is that today? I think that's, or was it? I can't remember, but I think it's today actually. Labour has put house building at the centre of its vision and how to grow the economy. Wow. Guys, look, I don't know about you, but this is what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing this direction of travel right now where we've all got digital ID. We're all in the crypto pound and we're all living in 15-minute cities. Doesn't seem too bad, right? Now, the problem here is when you've got, and look, as wild as this sounds, let's not think it can't happen. If you've got everybody living in this 15-minute city, and, you know, a lot of these 15-minute cities will just decay into absolute poverty. I can remember when, you know, I can't remember when they built them, but I know they were built, I think they were built in the 80s. In Sheffield, they built some flats. I think it's called the Manor Top. And when they designed these flats, they designed them to be like eco and like industrial and really like easy living. Just turned into a slum, turned into an absolute slum. And that's where I think these 15-minute cities are going. And what they're saying is, you know, they're going to grow. This is how the government are going to grow the economy. Like they're either vastly stupid, or they think you're vastly stupid. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm here to tell you what's what. So this doesn't grow any economy at all. Like government spending does not grow the economy. Government spending raises inflation. That is it, guys. There's no caveat to that. There is no like, you know, but this government, no, stop. Government spending raises inflation. There's nothing. So this little statement here, Labour has put householding at its centre of vision of how to get the economy growing. Makes no sense, guys. Makes absolutely no sense. Not only does it make no sense, it's actually insulting. It's insulting on two fronts. One, it's insulting to me because they're both insulting to me, actually. One, it's insulting to me because they think that I don't know what this means. Two, it's insulting to me because they think that I think that he doesn't know what he means. So one of those is true. And, you know, I would say there are people behind the scenes who know exactly what a lie this is. However, the industry has warned that the government faces huge challenges to reach its target, with house builders facing pressure, including rising costs and taxes. Meanwhile, recent figures showed the number of planning approvals for new homes in England and Wales fell to a record low. Yeah, do you reckon? Do you think the government will be able to change that? I mean, of course they will. People, honestly, oh, here we are. So Tempsford, one of the potential locations for the first 15-minute city or open air prison. Its parish council chairman, David Sutton, said residents had been kept in the dark about the potential plans, including how many new homes could be built. So can you imagine now you live in one of these small towns that they're going to turn into 15-minute cities, and then all of a sudden it's now a big town and you're not allowed to leave, and that town is suddenly populated with, I don't know, guys, who do you think is going to populate these towns? Like, here's a question for you guys on the chat. Who do you think is going to, who's going to populate? You know how they're building they're building three 15-minute cities? Who do you think the people going into those new houses are going to be? Do we think it's going to be, I don't know, guys. I'm going to leave that up to you guys on the chat. I've got no opinion on that. I have no idea who it could be. So there we have it, guys. 15-minute cities are, you know, they're being pledged. There's also I think we spoke about this. Hang on. London Village is set to become massive new town with 10,000 homes before the election. Yeah, we've done that. Also, just before I came out of the house, I read this was on the news. Let me play it for you. They're saying that Keir Starmer could be gone like by the end of the week. I'm not sure about that, but let me just play this. I'm getting this into I'm going to be listening to this at first time. He says, bombshell. This is a bombshell story that could signal the end of Keir Starmer's government. So I'm going to get this at the first time with you. I know I always say I'm going to play this through and then I'll get comments afterwards, but I'll probably stop it at some point.
Good evening to you. Thank you for your company. I'm Ben Leo. This is The Late Show Live on Saturday night. And breaking this evening, a bombshell story which could signal the start of the end of Keir Starmer's government. This weekend could see the Prime Minister attend his last ever Labour conference, because tonight...
Simon Jones is saying £9.10 to subscribe, you Robin can't. It's not as I'd have a massive... Right, Simon Jones, I don't... What where are you getting that from? Just quickly, a comment on YouTube is saying, Simon Jones is saying, £9.10 to subscribe. It's definitely not £9.10 to subscribe. Like, I have the lowest subscription fee on that there is on TikTok. Or are you talking about on here? Simon Jones, can you please update me on that? Because I don't know where that... I definitely don't charge, like, it's definitely not £9.10. I'll tell you the reason. I have to do I put the subscriptions on. When I get information that's new and like it's breaking and it's not out on the media yet, I have to do a subscribers only video on that. If I did that as like an open video, that would go through the checks, that would go through the balances, because I'm not putting that to a community. Then that video, what we found is those videos will get taken down, and I would get a black mark against my name, and then I would risk losing my platform. But Simon Jones, if you're still there, can you let me know what? Oh. And Four Pauses saying £9. Right, I don't know. Guys, are we talking about this on TikTok? Guys, can somebody inbox me and tell me what this £9.10 is? I genuinely don't know what that is. Guys, can somebody inbox me and tell me what that is? I genuinely don't know what that is. None of the other TikTokers pay a subscription. Right, I don't know, Simon Jones. Simon Jones, I don't know how that's got there. I can only apologize. I can tell you with a 100% certainty, I've not done that. What? Right, Sarah. Okay. Right, okay. Right, guys, listen, I'm gonna have to look into this. I don't know whether that's right, okay, Sarah, I don't know what's happened there. I'll have to sort something out on that. I have no idea. When you go for the subscriptions, I promised you I put that on the bottom level, whatever that was. So okay, I'm gonna have to put that on. Thank you for letting me know, Simon Jones. Although your language was a little bit fruity, but thank you anyway. Right, okay. Listen, guys, I have got 2 chats open. All right, I have got 2 chats open. So we are triple streaming. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, and we are streaming on X. So I will look into that, but we had it on the lowest possible the lowest possible setting. I don't know how that's. I don't know where £9.10s come from. Anyway, let's continue with this video, guys. I know I said I wasn't going to stop it, and I always do. We'll start it again from the beginning, actually, because I didn't.
Good evening to you. Thank you for your company. I'm Benio. This is The Late Show Live on Saturday night. And breaking this evening, a bombshell story which could signal the start of the end of Keir Starmer's government. This weekend could see the Prime Minister attend his last ever Labour conference, because tonight the Prime Minister is facing questions over his tax situation. Sunday Times journalist Gabriel Pogrund and tax expert Dan Needle have teased what sounds like to me a massive story in which they claim the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, avoided paying inheritance tax when he gave land to his parents. All right, for some, eh?
Okay, so avoided. What we've got to understand here, guys, is honestly, if I don't think there's that, if Keir Starmer's is it tax avoidance? You can avoid tax, but you can't evade it. There's 2 different things. So you can avoid tax by moving your money and making sure you fall within those guidelines, but you can't evade tax. So if Keir Starmer's done something within those laws and within those lines of within those lines, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Now they say number 10 is yet to respond to these allegations, but GB News has approached Downing Street for comment too. Whilst that's coming, all the detail is going to be coming imminently over the next 2 hours. Stick with us throughout the night for what we hope will be further information on whether indeed Keir Starmer did avoid inheritance tax. And this comes, by the way, on the eve of the Labour Party conference kicking off tonight on Sunday. We're expecting more details to leak out very shortly, so stick around. But this comes, of course, doesn't it, after his former deputy, Angela Rayner, was forced to resign over her own tax affairs. So do we need to call a taxi for Sir Keir Starmer out of Downing Street? Does he need to do one back to his constituency in North London? Because are we about to witness, maybe once and for all, his downfall? Let me know your thoughts tonight by visiting gbnews.com.
Okay, so I don't think Keir Starmer's going for a long time. But you know how people are championing this, and you've just got to you've got to understand, better the devil you know. I mean, what do we think the odds are that Keir Starmer is out, and then what's his name? Sadiq Khan just comes and slides his way in. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump and get the chat. I'm going to jump over and get some of the chats. Listen, guys, I am going to figure it out what's happening here with this subscription thing. I know the. So let me just give you guys a quick. So a couple of weeks ago, the software updated on the TikTok, and at the bottom it said something about super fans. Now I've never clicked anything. I don't know how that happened, but it was when the system updated. So let me look into that for you guys. All right, and I'll bring that down to whatever the minimum cost is. And you know what, guys? If you can't go on, just go and message. Just go and put a message on. Go and put a message on YouTube. Right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Oh, wow, so many people joining. Luby Lou, Mo, Vinny the Squirrel. I love it when Vinny the Squirrel's in. Lisa Marie, Stars, Dragonfly, Claire, Janet, Sam. Oh, I'm just gonna come down and get the comments. Kaz is saying morning, all morning to you, Kaz. Jules is saying morning to you, Jules. Timsky saying morning, April Lee saying morning. Kaz is saying Stormont in Northern Ireland have stated they're against digital IDs. Again, you know, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who's against them, because if the government, remember what I said, guys, you know, like, I've probably been saying this for years. If the government passed something as law, people are obliged to do it. So now we have a very small amount of people who are making these decisions. And I mean, like, we've got Keir Starmer making decisions for us now. How many people in this, if you could have like the whole of the country, and they said, right, do you want Keir Starmer in charge? Just a quick question now. Do you guys, like, if there was like a magic, I don't know. If you could go somewhere and like write on a piece of paper and put it into a box, and then all that gets counted or something. There's always something like that we could do. But if there were to be an election today, not even an election, just like a question. Do you think Keir Starmer is doing a good job? Do you want Keir Starmer as the British Prime Minister? I mean, what do we think he'd get? 10, 20% of the vote? You know, so, but that's the reality now. That's the reality. Keir Starmer's in charge. And if things get passed through government, then then the police are obliged to uphold them. You know, and you only need a few. Again, if we're talking about subversion, and I often do, if we're talking about subversion, you only need a few like one or two judges, and then you just send somebody, say, right, you're breaking the law. And he says, no, I'm not. He says, right, take it to the court. Go and see my mate who's a judge. Yeah, he's a Fabian judge. Right, okay, yeah, he's found you are breaking the law. You're in jail. Oh, right, okay. And you do this to the people at the top. I mean, Vladimir Putin did this brilliantly in Russia with the oligarchs. Jody Lee is saying morning. Kaz is saying all the government is doing is bringing in a police state. Yeah, absolutely. And with these, when they're building these new towns, what are the odds, guys, that these towns will have everything you need within 15 minutes? UK veteran Sarah May Gen X is saying morning. UK veterans is saying morning. April Lee is saying morning back. UK veterans is saying bet there is a dip in inflation this month as the pensions are based on it. I don't think pensions are going to last, guys. I've said this. I've been saying this for a long time. I think universal basic income will come in, and then as soon as universal basic income comes in, they'll just get rid of pensions. And I think that's the way. I think that's like the direction of travel. And some people are saying like, oh, but Sean, it's too much money. We can't afford it. Oh, it's too expensive. And like, what everybody's got to understand is money isn't real. It's not real. It's just numbers on a screen. And trust me, at government level, they can write more numbers on more screens. And the way it'd work, I've not got my wallet on me. The way I feel, this is how I feel it's going to work. This is the cutting plan. And it sounds good. I'm not going to lie, guys. It sounds like a good plan. It really does. The problem is, what is it? Ultimate power ultimate power corrupts ultimately, or ultimate power. Yeah, I think that ultimate power corrupts ultimately. So if you can imagine now, all right, we all get issued with our digital ID. They say, right, okay, all you guys that have got a digital ID, you're now eligible for universal basic income. That's everybody. So you can work as well. If you want to work, you can work. If you don't want to work, don't work. And again, I think these are all good ideas. I promise you guys, I think they're good ideas. It's just I know human nature. I'm a human and I understand human nature because I am said human. So you get your digital ID and then they say, right, with your digital ID, we will credit you every month £1,600 or whatever. They trialed £1,600. For those of you guys who don't know, there have been universal basic income trials in the United Kingdom. I think they finished in May this year. I'm slightly wrong on that. I'm pretty sure it was May, where they gave everyone, I think they gave it them for 2 years, or might have even been 3 years or something. They gave, I might be wrong on that, but they gave everyone £1,600 a month to spend on whatever they wanted. Now, this is how it'll work, guys. All right, this is how it'll work, and this is how you will do what you're told. And the government will not even have to have any police. They won't need any police. So you get your digital ID on your phone, all right? And you get your £1,600 per month, and you can spend that on whatever you want within that month. So you can't save it, which is fair, I think, because you wouldn't want people saving that money and stockpiling it. You would want people to be spending it and keeping the economy. I get it, guys. These are all good ideas, and I support them if we wasn't human. But we are human. We've got to understand that we're human, and people who think we're not human maybe are not quite human themselves. So you get £1,600 on your digital ID, and you can spend that in shops that are registered. So then you get the people complying, then you get the shops complying, because the shops have to go through checks and balances and show the government X, Y, and Z and do this and have all their, I mean, who's going to turn down that? If you're a small shop, are you going to turn down the amount, the money that people will be sending you or on your digital ID? So straight away, just with universal basic income, and don't forget that money is getting recycled and that money is coming back to the treasury in tax. It's all moving around. So now we think about now consider that, and then put people in a 15-minute city now. So now we've got people in a 15-minute city reliant on their digital ID, reliant on their universal basic income, not allowed to leave that 15-minute city. That's then turned the 15-minute city into a prison. You literally stay in that 15-minute city and that's it, you're a prisoner. The 15-minute city next to you, literally, aliens could come down and start doing soul harvesting. You'd have no idea. You're not allowed to go there. They're not allowed to leave. And then all of a sudden you're like, wasn't there another city over there? No, nothing. It's just rubble now. No. Oh, right. Okay, whatever. Like sheep. Sheep. When we're out walking, I always say this to the girls. It's a bit dark. Well, it is dark. We're out walking and you look at sheep. I always say to the girls, do you think the sheep think the farmers are good because they bring them food? And they'll go, Daddy, stop it. Daddy, I stop. No, we're serious. Come on. What do you think those sheep are thinking when the farmer brings them food? I'll say, Daddy, stop it. Stop it. I don't like it. And they're saying, obviously I've not told you. So what I'll say to the girls is, are the farmers good because they're bringing the sheep food and the little lambs? And then when the farmer comes and the farmer takes the lambs away, and the sheep think, oh, those farmers are good. They keep feeding us. Oh, they're looking after our little babies. Oh, we're never going to see them again. They're going to sheep heaven. They're going to sheep paradise, those guys. Oh, they're not going to be out in the field. They're going over to sheep paradise. You see where I'm going with this, guys, right? You see where I'm going with this. And this is what I always think when I'm thinking about these 15-minute cities. And as wild as that sounds, as absolutely insane as that sounds, guys, you know, how is it any different? Let's just say, guys, does anybody have their tinfoil hat? Does anybody want, right, guys, let's all get our tinfoil hats on. I need to get one, don't I? I will. I'll get, no, I'm not. So let's put our tinfoil hats on. Don't ruin your hair. Let's just pretend for 1 minute. Let's just pretend that there is some sort of alien overlord, some sort of reptilian shape-shifting race that's walking among us. Let's just pretend that. And they wanted to gobble people. They wanted to say, right, we need to feast on man flesh and woman and child. How would you do it? You would corral people into pens and pen them in like humans pen sheep. And you would say, right, get in them 15-minute cities. You're not allowed to leave. And then the aliens would go in and blah, 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 blah. Har, 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 har. But anyway, sorry guys, I went off on a tangent there. Kaz is saying government spending is increasing the deficit. If you go by how they're wasting and hiding money. UK Veterans is saying the people being flown into Manchester at air. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so I was saying to you guys, wasn't I, about these. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, we are talking about 15-minute cities now in the United Kingdom. They've been announced. Digital identification, universal basic income. It all sounds a good idea. It's all a good idea until the reptilian overlords come down and start sucking people's brains. Or we have a state of like self-inflicted prisons that we are both the inmates and the guards. UK Veterans are saying the people that are going to be flown into Manchester at night time are going to be populating these new cities. Kaz is saying, I've got in my head they're laundering money. UK Veterans is saying, she's saying, inheritance tax scam. I posted about it last night. April Lee is saying, Keir Starmer has been dodging taxes. Like, if you're dodging taxes, legally, it's like you're allowed to avoid tax. I think you're not allowed to evade tax. So, for example, lots of companies will spend a lot of money on research and development because that's their profit. And rather than pay tax on that, they'll just plow that money into research and development because that's for them. And then they get like tax breaks and stuff. So there is ways of doing it. Honestly, guys, like I can say a lot about Keir Starmer, but if he's within the law, I don't have any issue with that. It's like when David Cameron had some money or something, like was it a Panama account? And then like the Panama account scanned, or is it his dad? I can't remember. And I'm like, really? Like if you, like, for example, if you had a couple of million in the bank and you could either A, pay tax on it, just give the government money for nothing, or B, move it to an account in Panama, what would you do? I know what I would do. I'd be like, right, okay, so I can pay tax on this money if I leave it in this bank account. Yes, okay. What if I move it to this bank in Panama? You won't have to pay tax on it. Is it illegal? No. Oh, okay. You wouldn't do that, guys. When you're talking about big amounts of money, maybe 20% on a couple of million, it adds up. Sean McKay is saying, been watching a TikTok creator constantly saying, we all in control and big awakening. Yeah, I mean, the problem is I don't think people think they're in control. People think they're government are in control. But ultimately, guys, we vote for them. If everybody just if everybody just said, no, I'm not complying with that law. No, I'm not paying my council tax. No, I'm not paying this. No, I'm not doing that. Ultimately, what can they do? What can they do? Yeah, they'll lock a few people up initially. But if everybody, they can't, there isn't enough jail spaces. That is a peaceful way of doing things. Timsky says, that mean we get a refund? Yeah, guys, I am going to have to look into this. The subscription thing. I will look into that. I've certainly not put that. I've certainly not changed it. UK Veterans is saying lawyers are saying yes, he is breaking the law. Number 10 remains silent on it. Lawyers are saying yes, he has broken the law. Carning the wings to replace Kia, says April Lee. Yeah, look, guys, we've been talking about all this stuff on this channel, haven't we? Literally, all the stuff that's in the news now. Literally, all of this stuff. Sadiq Khan becoming Prime Minister. Sadiq Khan becoming Prime Minister. 15-minute cities, digital ID, universal basic income. Although I know they're not talking about universal basic income now, but trust me, guys, it's on the cards. It's definitely on the cards. April Lee saying, no, but who is the other option? I might become a Fabian to see what's happening. Do you think they will have me? I think they'll have you, April. Yeah, absolutely. Kaz is saying, absolute power corrupts. Sharon Owen is saying, good morning to you, Sharon Owen. Kaz is saying, that would help enforce a cashless society. Yeah, exactly, guys. This is what's coming. I'll go through that again. I went off on a little tangent there talking about universal basic income. What if you live in the countryside, Sean? Well, unfortunately, let me pin this. Unfortunately, Timsky, here in the United Kingdom, what is actually happening is it's becoming more and more untenable to live in the countryside. You're further away from amenities. All the shops and local infrastructure out in the countryside is closing down. So I think people are going to be forced into big cities. Remember, this is a plan. It's going to take time to implement. It's going to take time to build the 15-minute cities, but they're going to announce it today, allegedly, from the mainstream media. So once you've got the first towns filled, then you just expand it. And I think a good way to get people out of the countryside into these 15-minute cities is just to give people free money. Laurie C is saying good morning, Laurie C. Kaz is saying 15-minute cities will never work. April E is saying, Sean, stop scaring the kids. Sharon Owen is saying, get the girls to watch Chicken Run. That's the one with Mel Gibson, isn't it? Yeah, I've never seen Chicken Run. It's like the plasticine. It's like the plasticine models, and I think Mel Gibson's, and I think Mel Gibson's one of the voiceovers. I like Mel Gibson. Do we all love Mel Gibson? Kaz is saying she remembers the Panama scandal. I got to see the database and it's full of shell companies. Sorry, I should say the database was filled with non-existent shell companies. It will be the digital pound as the universal tax credits, says UK Veterans. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to, I don't know how this is going to be, I don't know how this is going to be what they're going to call it, but you will get free money, free credits, or something that you can spend. Whether that's digital pound, crypto pound, Bitcoin, I don't know, but there will be something. Paul Poops is saying people need to crash the economy by not spending for 3 days at least. Stay indoors, stay at home on strike. The problem here is, Paul, people just won't do it on the numbers that are needed. Timsky says, I don't think Sadiq Khan will replace Starmer. And look, guys, let's be clear. I don't think Keir Starmer's going anywhere. I really don't. I don't think he's going anywhere at all. UK Veterans is saying the Bank of England are working on the digital pound now. It has an advert on its main website for the digital pound. Well, if that's what they're working on, that may be the thing. Kaz is saying, digital money, I'll accept Bitcoin. Timsky is saying, yes, love him. Oh, right. Okay, Mel Gibson. Right. Yes, I love Mel Gibson. People say I look like him. He must be a dashing guy, Timsky. What's that movie? With Sylvester Stone, where they're like the gang of mercenaries and Mel Gibson's the bad guy. I can't remember. Is it? I want to say it's called Stonewish or something. What's it called? Expendables. So, like, there's a movie called Expendables, and what's his name? Mel Gibson plays the bad guy. I think that's one of his best roles. So hang on a minute. So Timsky is saying he looks like Mel Gibson and Tom Cruise. I mean, you must be a dashing young gentleman then, Timsky. That's all I'm saying. Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're just joining for the first time, we are talking about the breaking news of the day. I'll give you this headline right now. I'll give you the headline and then I'll tell you what it really means. Building 3 new towns will start before the next election, Labour pledges. Now, they're calling them towns, but I'm going to call them 15-minute cities, and I'm also going to call the 15-minute cities an open-air prison, because that is what they are, guys, all right? Be under no illusion. They will have, honestly, guys, and these new towns that are getting built, they will say, oh, we're trialing these new systems. We're trialing these new systems. We're trialing this new way of building. We're trialing these new entry methods. They're not trialing it. They know exactly that it works. What they're doing is putting new control. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine like what some of these 15-minute cities are going to turn into? They're going to turn into like absolute, like, just like, they built some flats in Sheffield, like in the 80s, and they tried the same thing. You know, they tried the same thing. They tried to build these beautiful flats with all the, you know, all the great stuff, and they just turned into slums, just turned into absolute slums. So that's what we're talking about this morning, guys. 15-minute cities are going to be announced today, although they're talking about new towns. They're saying, no, they're not 15-minute cities. They're just beautiful new towns, because of all the new people that we've got in this country. Guys, this is unbelievable. Like, I don't know. It just seems like these hotels are going to be closing pretty soon. A task force has recommended 12 locations in England for development, with 3 areas: Tempsford in Bedfordshire, Leeds South Bank, and Cruise Hill in North London, identified as the most promising. So what we're talking about now, guys, is 12 15-minute cities have been identified, and they're going to start on 3. Then they'll start on 6. Then they'll start on 9, and before you know it, we will be building all 12. Housing Secretary Steve Reed is expected to announce the plans today. Labour has put house building at the centre of its vision of how to get the economy growing, promising to build 1.5 million homes by 2029. Not a chance that's ever going to happen. But look, guys, let's just read that statement again, all right? If anybody's listening to this and you're a subject matter expert and I'm wrong, I'm not, but I'm just opening it out, guys, you know, because I like just listen to this, guys, okay? Labour has put house building at the centre of its vision on how to get the economy growing. That statement is so wrong. It's so ridiculous. And it's so absurd. It just gets me angry. Government spending does not grow the economy. Does not, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it does not. Government spending does not grow the economy. Government spending raises inflation. There's no little, oh yeah, but government spending raises inflation, and that's it. There's a full stop there. That is the sentence. Every time the government spends money that they don't have, which I would say these houses are, where's the money coming from? You know, that is raising inflation. So they either don't know that themselves, which is bad, or they think you're too stupid to understand. The only, guys, look, the only way that we grow, like the only way we become rich is we take someone else's money. That's business, guys, all right? Unfortunately, that's the way it works. The only way you become rich is you take somebody else's money. Money out of your pocket into my pocket. That's how I get more money in my pockets. That's not a difficult idea. That's not a difficult theory. We've been doing it for a while. So how does that work as a country? Well, exactly the same. The only way Britain gets rich is by taking another country's money. And, you know, I'm not talking about doing this like maliciously or like forcefully. I'm talking about providing better goods and services, you know, for providing better, you know, well, I said it there really, better goods and services. So that's how you become rich. Taxing people, building houses with government money. No way, Bob. No way, Bob. Does not work. Does not work at all. So, you know, all this stuff and the wording, it's going to be really interesting listening to this guy, Steve Reed, you know, talking about building these new houses. Where's the money coming from? You know, when people say, oh, Sean, we can't, you know, universal basic income, we can't afford it. It would cost too much. Money's just numbers on a screen, guys. Money is only numbers on a screen. Right, I'm going to get comments on YouTube, guys. I've been neglecting you guys. I do apologize. Right, okay. Sorry. Helen MG is saying it started already. They're throwing them. They're throwing them up. Yeah. Do you know what? I do think this has started as well. Like, I think this has started, but through the back door. In the context that, have you guys noticed? I know. I have. These new build housing estates that are getting built and that are springing up everywhere. Like, listen, I bet you know wherever you live. In fact, guys, can you just put a number in the comments? All right. Have a think about this. Wherever you live, how many new housing estates are being built near you? I'm going to work out now where we are. Okay, so I can think of 4. Yeah, I can think of 4 off the top of my head. Yeah, I can think of 4. Yeah, definitely 4. One of them's just been completed, I think. Yeah, but I'm going to count that one. So 3, and 1's just been completed. So I'm going to go with 4 or 3, whatever. So these things are happening. You know, these things are all over. These things are happening in real time. These new housing estates. Now, I've said this quite a few times before. If you guys just think about them, those new housing estates. So we've all got the numbers there. We've got quite a few of the numbers jumping up. Next time you drive past it, oh God, there's another one as well. There's another one as well, just started, but they're just like flattening it out. So the next time you drive past these housing estates, Look at them. They have one way in and one way out. Literally, there's only one road. Now, that is by design. That's for control. Now, how difficult would it be to put 2 police officers on that entry point and say, you're not allowed to leave. You're locked down. You've got to stay in your housing estate. You guys are staying in. Easy. Well, okay. What about if you put a barrier on there? Like with a gate, with facial recognition, and you couldn't leave or enter unless you scanned your digital ID. And they're going to tell you it's for safety. They are, and it will be. But it comes back to that analogy, doesn't it? With the hamsters living in the cage, or the sheep in the pen, corralled in the pen, and the sheep are safe. Oh, the farmer, he's nice. He looks after us. He makes sure the foxes can't get us, and he's always got the fences open. He's always coming and feeding us. The female perspective over on YouTube is saying mass deportations are inevitable. I don't think they are. Female perspective, who also has a fantastic thumbnail. Yeah, guys, listen, I'm actually shocked about how many people are putting about these land new housing estates that are being built. Paul Lloyd is saying it's crazy how one can be in debt, but at the same time print their own money. Inflation is BLX. An old man told me that years ago. So all money's fake. It's all like, realistically, when was the last time you got paid and you drew all your money out? Like, when was the last time anybody drew all their money out? When was the last time has anyone ever done that? I know I've not. When you get paid, when was the last time you drew your money out? All of it, So all money is fake. It's all numbers on a screen, and it's all self-inflicting. Natalie Unwin is saying we've got 6 and a new hospital being built. Guys, I'm shocked how many housing estates are being built. I just thought it was like near where we live, but it looks like there's it looks like there's a massive housing push at the moment. Slim is saying, I was arrested once. I hope you learned your lesson, Slim. As the business didn't believe me that the motorcycle was mine, he said I looked too young to own it. Oh, well, there you go then. There you go. Linda Lou is saying we have thousands being built in my area. They knocked down half our town for tower blocks, plus 1,500 to be built on a golf course and a farmer's field, 700. Another field, it's 450. Shocking. Do you know what I found as well? Where we live, there was a big house. It'd been up for sale forever, and nobody really wanted to buy it. But it was a lovely house, and the for sale sign went down. I was like, oh, okay. They've turned it into migrant flats. So now there's this beautiful big house, and somebody's bought it, beautiful, English country house. And well, I'm assuming it's migrant flats or whatever. I've not been inside it. But it's turned into migrant flats now or something. I'm just thinking, wow, is this the way our heritage is going right now? Can you imagine, Victorian Britons? Can you imagine Victorian Britons building these grand houses and someone saying to them, in 100 years' time, we will be taxing ourselves to put people from third world countries into that beautiful house you've just built. What? Yeah, we are going to tax ourselves to death to pay for people from third world countries to live in there. They'd say, that doesn't even make sense. And you'd say, it won't make sense to the people in 2025 either. Oh, Lisa Jane. Lisa Jane saying, I've never been in prison, but life today is looking more like an isolated living in situ. You know what? It really does feel like that. Like freedoms have just really been eroded. And I think it was somebody who put on the chat yesterday, back in the 90s, fuel was cheap, food was cheap, and people could do stuff. Like now people are just trying to put food on their table and keep the lights on. That's literally like self-imprisonment. It doesn't feel like we're living at all, does it? It doesn't. There's got to be more to this. And I think, oh, look at that sun. I keep saying I need to get a curtain there. But this is part of European culture. It's European culture to want to expand and to want to have more, do more, be more. And unfortunately, until people go to Antarctica, we're not going to get that. I think we'll go to Antarctica, we'll colonize Antarctica, then we'll go to the moon, and then we'll go to Mars in that order. I don't think Elon Musk, when he talks about going to, I don't think when he's talking about going to Mars, I don't think he's being 100% serious. Timsky just saying, Sean, have you seen the Siege of Jadoville? I've not seen that one, Timsky, no. One of the tower blocks is rent only. They've put illegals in there. They also have security. And April Lee saying, at least I would be able to meet people in prison. And Timsky's saying, I've been in Colchester military jail. Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, the military jail, if you're really bad in the military, you get sent to Colchester. You're like, right, get him to Colchester. And you're like, oh, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. For being AWOL. Right, guys, listen, I'm just gonna have a, in fact, I really need a wee. Right, guys, I'm gonna nip in the house for a wee. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm in no rush this morning, guys, but I will be turning this off on TikTok, and then I'm going to try and get to the bottom of this subscription fee, because I had that set on the lowest fee. Now, I don't know if TikTok have raised that, but I've certainly not raised that. If TikTok have raised it, I don't know where we go with that. I'll have to figure it out. I'm going to run to the toilet, and then I'll be jumping over to YouTube. So I am triple streaming. Excuse me. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, and we are on X. Give me a minute. I'm going for a wee, and I'll see you in 3. Less than 3, maybe like 1 minute or something. Oh, Sean's gone AWOL. No, I've not. I just went out to I just went into the house to the toilet, and I've I might do a live stream on it later when I'm trying to fix it. I've got a leaking gutter, and it's got a lot worse. There was quite a lot of rain the other night, so I was just thinking how I'm going to fix it. Right, let me move that. Yeah, guys, look, guys, just some of the comments on the YouTube. I'll jump over to them in a second, but I don't know what the I don't know what's happened with the TikTok stuff. So I'll look into that. I genuinely don't know. I can guarantee I've not changed the price or anything. I do know that the if you guys have been watching me for a while, the I changed over. Sorry, I didn't change over. The software updated, and we had quite a few glitches, and it wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't turn off. So there'd been a big update or something. So it might have had something to do with that. I don't know, but I will get to the bottom of that. In Canada, Timsky is saying in Canada, met an Inuit woman. Right, Timsky, I think this is another story for another day. So Timsky went AWOL in Canada after he met an Inuit woman. Like, I don't know, Timsky, were you like feral, and did you come back in like sheep, like in did you come back in all like Eskimo clothes for, like, you know, you've been out living in the in the Canadian wilderness? And Timsky said yes. Well, listen, Timsky, if you look like Mel Gibson and Tom Cruise, like had a love child, then you know I've no surprise. There's no surprises. Right, let me just update this. Oh yeah, let me update this screen, guys. Also, there's a story developing, and I don't know where this story is going, guys. I really don't. But it does look like there's some legal firms looking at Keir Starmer giving a patch of land to his parents or something. Again, I don't know everything behind this story. Now, this is so he could avoid paying inheritance tax. I don't know how that works, but, you know, this is being thrown at Keir Starmer. I don't think that's grounds for him to resign, guys. I really don't. If that's within the law and that's legal for him to do that, you know, I've got a friend. He lives in Canterbury, and him and his wife, I don't know how it worked. They've just had to do something really wild to the house. They've got like they live on a farm, and I think they've had to, like, I can't remember what it is, but they've just had to like cut the farm up into littler pieces to get. I can't remember how it works, but they've just had to do a massive like thing to get around paying a load of tax. You know, so I know people are doing this, and it's within the law, and it's legal to do so. So I genuinely have no problems with this, guys. Okay, there's a lot of problems with Keir Starmer. You know, potential Ukrainian rent boys, subversion, Lord Ali, Epstein. I don't think whether Keir Starmer is paying the right amount of tax or not should be the main criticism of him. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close you guys down now on TikTok, and then we'll continue this live stream over on YouTube. If you're not going to jump over to YouTube and X, then I will see you guys later on today. I'll be back on this evening. I think, yes, I will. I'll be back on at 8 or just before. I think we're back to the normal timings now. I think we are. We're back to the normal timings where we are 10 in the morning and 8 in the evening. Anyway, guys, if you're not going to jump over to YouTube, I'll see you later. But if you are going to jump over to YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and I'm the Real Raven 1 on X, and I'll see you guys later. And we are off. We are off. I need to get some curtains, but first, let's see what's going on in this chat. Sarah May is saying, morning, everyone. I've just moved across. Lisa Jane is saying, it's so unfair. It's so unfair, though. I think there is a lot to criticise the Labour. No, Lisa Jane, I agree. There is a lot to criticise Keir Starmer and the Labour Party for. Absolutely. Whether people are paying the right amount of tax or not, like, it's a fly in the ointment, you know. It's like a fly in the ointment, and I just don't think, you know, I just don't think that with all the stuff that you could be throwing, with all the stuff that people could be throwing at Keir Starmer, I don't think this you know, whether he paid the right amount of tax or not is like a big scandal, to be honest, because people avoid paying tax. Like if you, like, you know, there are lots of little tax loopholes that people exploit, and it's not the people, it's the tax system's problem because it's so complicated. Keith Newbury is saying Tony Blair's son owns the company doing the digital ID. There's a surprise. So we looked at this yesterday, Keith. So Tony Blair's son, Ewan Blair. First of all, I had a little bit of a flash when I was on the live stream yesterday. He's got an MBE because reasons. He's a member of the British Empire. But anyway, we'll skirt over that, so I don't trigger myself. Yeah, so Ewan Blair, he's managed to raise 220 million for this new tech startup company. Now, let's be clear, this company started in 2016, I think, 2016. It's called, what's it called? Multiverse. Yeah, it's called Multiverse. And what Multiverse is it's an education platform, basically, and they're trying to use online learning tools for education. Now, we actually looked into this yesterday, and I can't find any evidence that that company would be involved with the implementation of digital IDs. I know I've seen it, you know, lots of people are talking about it, but I tried to put these things together, and I couldn't find that link myself, other than what other people have been saying. Coastal Countrysides and Drones is saying use debt to make money. How do we use debt to make money? In fact, actually, when I used to work in Ukraine, I used to go to these parties, and I always remember speaking to this one guy. He was from the EBRD. It's called the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, I think. I think that's what it's called. And I was just talking to him. We had some, you know, you stand there with your little glass of champagne and your little like bit of food. And I remember talking to this guy, and he was saying that, you know, he's saying, yeah, I mean, this was back in like 2015, 16. He was saying what they're doing at the moment is creating debt in Ukraine. They don't want to get any money back. They just want to create debt in Ukraine now. And I thought, that doesn't sound like a business plan, creating debt. But that's how these people work, guys. You know, they're a different kettle of fish. And that's kind of the problem. It's a big problem. In the world, we judge someone's success by how many numbers they have in the bank. And, you know, on the face of it, that's a fair metric. But the example I'm going to give you now is an example I've given a few times. The woman who owns, I think it's Bet365, online gambling platform. Like, I think she's like the richest woman in the UK or something. And she's always hailed as this brilliant businesswoman and this brilliant, fantastic entrepreneur. And, you know, she's making so much money and she's giving talks at schools on how to make money. I'm thinking, hang on a minute. She's stealing money from people. If you've ever met anyone with a gambling addiction, guys, like I don't even see I've never even been on one of those things where you put money. I just don't see the point. But in the military, there was quite a few guys who were like gambling addicts. And if you've ever met somebody with it is an addiction. So those people who are on those apps on their phone and I need to win. They're not winning. You know, it's blatant. It's like, you know, you could call that theft. But every year, do you know what? Let me Google something real quick. Right, I can't find any numbers on this, guys. I was looking for how many men transcend themselves to beams of light over gambling, and I can't find any statistics. I guess it's difficult to, it would be difficult to, to be able to put it would be difficult to be able to put a pin in that. But sorry, but what I'm getting at here is, gambling, it's an addiction. It ruins lives. I would speculate it takes them. And this woman, because she makes money off that, she's hailed as this like brilliant entrepreneur, brilliant businesswoman. Oh, look how fantastic she is. When did you last get larrupted, Raven? What's a larrupt? Ham and eggs, what's a larrupt? I don't know what a larrupt is. Slim is saying, Dexter Diary, the government will force you to pay for one thrusting you further into debt. I want to know what a larrup is. What's a larrup? Is ham and eggs still on? Right. Seaside is a gambling monster. Seaside Mark is a gambling monster. Right. I don't know where we're going with this. Right. I don't know what's going on here, guys, in the chat. I think maybe ham and eggs is. I don't know. What ham and eggs is saying. David O'Rourke is saying, if you look at every council website in the UK, has it had a section on 15 minutes cities or some forum? Merrick Wells is saying Al Capone was done on tax evasion. Whatever is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah, I mean, Al Capone, they could never actually tie him to any crime, so they did him on tax evasion. But that was slightly the opposite way around, wasn't it? That was the government chasing a private citizen. This way, but right now we've got private citizens, the citizens of the United Kingdom, trying to chase the government. So I don't think that can work in reverse. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just think about this, guys. Okay, let's just consider 50-minute cities and the implementation of them. I like, they're being built. They are being built right now. We were talking earlier on the chat, and I asked you guys to put the numbers in and say, listen, guys, how many new housing developments are being built near you? And the numbers were phenomenal. Lots of people, throwing 2, 3, 4 into the mix. Now, if we consider this is happening all over the United Kingdom right now, first of all, who's going to be going into those new houses? Like, who's going to be the new people going into those houses? The government are also talking about building 3 new towns, that they want to start building new towns before the next election. Let me just Google where this is. Leeds South Bank, because that would be the closest one to me. Give me a second. Right, where is that? Where's Leeds South Bank? Oh, that's right in the centre of Leeds. That can't be it. Right, I'm not going to give much more time on that. Like, South Bank Leeds is coming up right in the middle of Leeds, so I don't think that's the right place. Anyway, let's not worry about that. But it does look like there's been 12 locations for England being identified, with the first 3 due to begin like pretty soon, I guess. Somebody sent me a video of some sort of something happening. I think it was in Darlington, where they've cordoned all the roads off and they're beginning construction work. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe something's happening there. But, you know, if you can control what people are seeing and control the media, like anything can happen. And like the prospect of these 15-minute cities, you know, the way they're being sold, and I get it, guys, I do. I understand that. Can you imagine if nobody had to work? We lived in these beautiful utopian cities where nobody needed vehicles and, you know, public transport was good enough for everyone and everybody was happy and everybody was living their best life. That would be great. The problem is it's going to be inhabited by humans, not sheep. Or do you know what? Maybe sheep will be in there in the context that sheep would be a crop to be harvested. Oh, Lisa Jane is saying nobody's talking about the 2 women that died crossing the channel on Friday night. Real? Okay. I first of all, I didn't. Yeah, you're right, Lisa. Nobody's talking about that. First of all, how do we know this happened? Like, how did that happen? Did the men not, like, what did the men not save them? Right, I'm gonna read this. Right, thank you, Lisa. I'm gonna read this. All right. Two women die after 100 migrants overwhelm a small boat in the channel. Somalis among 60 migrants who were rescued in France after trying to reach Britain on a makeshift dinghy. 2 Somali women have died after 100 migrants overwhelmed this makeshift boat. So are these the type of people that we want here, guys? You know, what kind of savages do that? Absolute savages. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't realize that had happened. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to close this. Oh, hang on. Oh, Lisa, right, guys, I'm going to close this down now. I'm going to go and try and fix this leaking gutter I've got. But don't worry, I'll be back on later. Guys, listen, if you're on for the first time and you've not done so already, can you hit the buttons below, the like, follow, subscribe, bell notification? I'll be having what's happening with the TikTok subscriptions. And guys, listen, thank you for hanging out with me this morning. I'll see you guys later.